I'm Emily Chang, and this is The Circuit. So it's been a busy summer for NBA superstar Stephen Curry.
Draws the double. Durant, Curry, always on the move. Draws the double again. There's surely not shots. Steph Curry putting it to sleep.
He finally added Olympic gold to his trophy cabinet, staking his claim to basketball's Mount Rushmore.
The last 3 minutes of the gold medal game, what was happening?
It was just living up to the moment. Those last 3 minutes, it was just, how do you get to the finish line? Playing France, in France, and you understood it was a gold medal game. First time experiencing that at that stage. Storybook stuff for sure.
Throughout his career, he's made a habit of betting on himself and winning big. When he was drafted by the Golden State Warriors in 2009, there were no signs he'd propel the club to an NBA dynasty. Now, he's one of the greatest shooters of all time. And 16 seasons in, he's showing no signs of slowing down. Off the court, he's been building 30 Inc., his collection of businesses that span partnerships, media, investments, and philanthropy. And Curry is betting on himself once again to take his standalone Curry brand that he launched with Under Armour, quote, to the moon, and maybe even take on the undisputed king of sneakers, Nike, and its Jordan brand.
I think we can have some success at a high level when it comes to what does 10, 20 years look like that mirrors Jordan brand, but does it in a way that's authentic to what I stand for, what Curry brand wants to stand for. And that's not just here in the U.S., that's internationally too.
Joining me now, NBA star Steph Curry.
We're going to start on the business. You've been wearing the number 30 since college, all under your 30 Inc. umbrella. They're the sneakers, your production company, VC fund, the foundation, chase it all with a little bit of bourbon. Was there a moment where you decided you wanted to be more than a basketball player?
I think I always had that perspective. You just didn't know what opportunities would be there. I think, obviously, from shoe and apparel perspective, that's always a part of a basketball player's expression of what are you rocking, what brand are you repping, and how can you build that presence off court. So that's been a kind of steady through line. But then all the other stuff has been curiosities that turned into substantial business opportunities. And I think that probably was around year 4 of my NBA career where you realize doors that are opening based off of what you're doing on the basketball court, people that you meet along the way, and just trying to find a sound approach to managing it all, because it matters who you go into business with.
Let's talk about that because, a good point guard needs to know how to run the offense, when to pass, when to shoot. How did being a basketball player prepare you to run so many different businesses?
Well, first, going to Davidson, it allowed me to have a perspective of it wasn't just about basketball. Like, there was a nice time management, intellectual journey at Davidson that kind of gave me a balance as well. So it wasn't just 100%, I'm just going to the gym and hooping. That's the only thing I can offer this world. That helped. Basketball is not an individual sport. It requires 5 people working in unison. You got to have different roles that everybody buys into. And I think maybe a little bit of imagination as well from a point guard position. Like, you got to have a little creativity and a little flair, the way I play at least. So that's helped off the court too.
You launched the Curry brand with Under Armour now nearly 4 years ago. A former Nike executive said that if you had stayed with Nike, your business would have been a monster. How do you respond to that?
There's a reason I'm not there. I've always been an underdog. It's kind of my mentality. And when I joined Under Armour back in 2013, had a couple signature athletes. Brandon Jennings was the first, but the basketball roster was pretty slim and basically starting the category from scratch. So to be a signature athlete for the 7, 8 years that I was there, to then turning it into a Curry brand and the success that we've had, I'm super proud of that, to be honest. But the fact that I took a chance and wanted to create something on my own and I'm sitting where I am right now, that speaks way more than saying, what could have been with Nike.
Is the ambition to be as big as Air Jordan?
My version of that, in the sense of he set the standard, and I know everybody's in the comparison game of his career on the court and obviously what Air Jordan means, culturally on court as well. But launching it 4 years ago and what we've learned over the last 4 years, doing what we do great and understand this is a marathon. It is a true labor of love and a journey of a lot of ups and downs. Like, there's market conditions that affect the business. There's wins and losses with the product you put on the court. And I think for us, as we build out the roster, continue to expand, what we're offering consumers across, for me, basketball, obviously golf, and eventually, slowly introducing, that athleisure lifestyle kind of presence to Curry Brand. I think we can have some success at a high level when it comes to what does 10, 20 years look like that mirrors Jordan Brand, but does it in a way that's authentic to what I stand for, what Curry Brand wants to stand for. And that's not just here in the U.S., that's internationally, too.
Yeah. How do you get sneakerheads?
For us, we have to focus on what we do great. And what I know we do great is, from a performance standpoint, I truly feel like our shoes, or my shoes, are the best in the biz when it comes to making athletes better, putting me in position to continue to play at this high level in year 16. And the innovation process that comes with that, the design process that we work tirelessly on to get right, to continue to elevate an expectation of what you're getting with Curry Brand product. And also keep perspective. Like, we've been doing this for not 10 years now, almost 11, but with Curry Brand for 4 years, and it's going to continue to take time to develop that expectation.
They went crazy for you in China, so crazy that the government had to cut the trip short.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing that kind of Curry mania abroad?
I think it was shocking to everybody that was on the tour. I've done that, the Asia tour 7 or 8 times. And coming off the Olympic gold medal experience, we had an amazing itinerary set up where we were going to experience 4 great cities, have some activations, meet the fans. We're doing a Curry Brand launch that was specific to the Chinese fans, and that went well. But like you said, we had to skip a city because there were some security concerns. I was on hotel arrest for 2 days because of crowd control problems.
I'm sure that drove you crazy.
It did, but it was also flattering, obviously, because the demand was crazy, and I appreciate that love. So we want to be able to obviously do those trips in the future and figure out a creative way to still have a presence there. Great problems to have, and stories to tell, for sure.
You've been based in Silicon Valley a long time. Tech is a huge part of your fandom. Tech folks, VCs now fill up the courtside seats, mostly at the Chase Center. Oakland legend Mr. Fab said the vibe is now all about rich techies. How has being tight with Silicon Valley influenced the club, for better and for worse?
I don't know. It's interesting because everybody compares like what Oracle was to what Chase Center is now. It has changed the demographic of who's coming to our games, but it's a give and take of continuing to elevate the brand of what being what Warriors basketball is about, and obviously championships and all that, but also honoring the history of where we've been. That's something for me that's extremely important. Why our foundation is based in Oakland. It's why I still have a flag there and want to continue to represent the community that supported us for so long. And business is business. It's tough. There's definitely some hard parts about it as things evolve. But for us, I always want to make sure I keep that perspective.
A lot of teams have left the East Bay. The Warriors left, which is a little different. The Raiders, the Oakland A's now. I have 4 kids. They love basketball. They love baseball. People are gutted. Like, sports are so important to the economic fabric and cultural fabric of a community. How does it feel to you to see these teams leaving?
It absolutely sucks. I think, like you mentioned, the economic impact of sports franchises is huge, and especially for me, beyond that, like jobs that it creates, it gives a community something to look forward to. And for me, like that hope of a season starting is a real thing. Like it galvanizes a spirit around a community, and especially a community as rich in culture as Oakland is, from the Raiders to the A's and the Warriors. So it's tough to kind of realize we're in that era where, when I was in 2009, when I got drafted and I pulled up to Oakland Coliseum, there was something just intoxicating about that. You could feel the history there. And now when you go back for a concert or something, it feels different. And so hopefully, the Valkyries will be practicing in Oakland, which is something, but they're obviously playing at Chase. But you wish it didn't go down like that, because Oakland deserves teams. But, it's the reality right now.
I was hoping Joe Lacob would buy the A's.
Me too.
You did a deal with FTX and did some commercials. Tom Brady did it too. Lots of celebs did. What did you learn from that? Obviously, that went super sideways. Whole FTX thing.
I shouldn't. I mean, yeah, it went crazy sideways. And you make decisions based on the facts that you have in front of you and take some chances. Like, obviously, nobody wanted to see it play out that way. And it's obviously way bigger than just me being an endorser for the company and some of the names that you mentioned. But, yeah, it's one of those shots that you took that didn't pan out, and obviously the legal process is settling itself, and it's unfortunate the way that it went. But for me, again, you have to acknowledge the losses, and obviously understand the learning lessons of what you went through when it came to, like I said, I made all decisions based on the facts that I had in front of me, and I think it was a shock to a lot of people, not just me, the way that it turned out. You take that one on the chin and keep moving.
You've said you want to own an NBA or a WNBA team one day. How will you make your mark? Like, with your unique perspective, what would you do differently?
Every fan base is different. Hopefully that comes to fruition, and whatever team, whatever opportunity it is, you'll be able to bring a player and business mindset of the things that I saw that impacted, the athlete's experience on a day-to-day basis. I think how you authentically connect with the community is a big part of any successful franchise. It's not just about the wins and losses. It's about how you make your fan base feel on a day-to-day basis. And then also you're being a mentor to players to understand no matter where you are in your career, to get the most out of this game and to handle it like a professional. And I'm going to be very patient with it because you want to make sure it's the right situation for me, and hopefully again that comes to life, when my basketball career is over with. But I think I'd have a very solid perspective that I could add to an ownership group that would hopefully make a difference.
Since Michael Jordan sold his stake in the Charlotte Hornets, there are no Black majority owners in the NBA, despite the league being over 70% African American. Why? Why are we still here?
I don't necessarily know the history of who's been knocking at the door and hadn't got across the threshold, but I do know from Bob Johnson, who used to own the Bobcats, who passed it off to Michael Jordan, and the way that Adam Silver, in the conversations I've had with him, understands that's a priority for representation in the Board of Governors room, and solving that problem, I think it's something that will be addressed, something that, to your point, is unacceptable. And I feel like the more you talk about it, the more pressure you apply. And I think there are a lot of different ways now, especially with the valuations of teams going through the roof, that creative ways for more participation from the Black and brown community at the ownership level. It's not like you're going to have a single, the pool of people that can afford a $5+ billion price tag for a franchise is probably pretty slim, but those creative ways to get more representation in the Board of Governors or ownership groups has to be addressed. And I think every company, not just in the NBA or for sports franchises, but every company needs that representation.
You endorsed Kamala Harris, but Trump won by a landslide. What's your take on the state of America right now?
You want to make sure that our country stands for, one, a fair election, which we all have to accept and agree to that, peaceful transfer of power, and allowing the country to speak on who they want to represent the country. Obviously, I was, like you said, a supporter of Vice President Kamala Harris, and it didn't work out that way. But like I said, I don't hold any ill will or resentment towards the process. I feel like it's in our best interest to rally around the leadership to have a collaborative effort where everything is driven in the spirit of representing all people, fairly and equitably, and that's on President Donald Trump to do that, and who he puts around him and the accountability towards that leadership, that's where the focus is now. So, these next 4 years are going to be interesting for a lot of different reasons, but I will maintain hope and positivity, optimism that hopefully we'll be better for it.
You've got Olympic gold. You just extended your contract a few years. How will you know when it's time to hang up your basketball shoes? How much longer do you want to play?
I have no idea how I'll know, except I've talked to plenty of people who've been in that situation where there's two ways to really go out. Either you're forced out, meaning you just can't play at this level and you know it, You go out on your own terms, but I hope to be in a situation where you kind of consider how your body feels, what it takes to get ready for games, the off-season training that goes into preparing yourself for an 82-game season. There will be a clear sign that it's time to hang it up. I don't want to be the one that's limping up and down the court trying to keep up with the young bucks, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to that yet, so I don't see the time, running out anytime soon.
You've been called the greatest shooter of all time. You're compared to LeBron. You're compared to Jordan. You were considered the underdog for so long, or you felt underrated for so long. Do you ever still feel the pressure of those labels?
Performance anxiety is real. I experience it every day. Part of doing or playing at this level for so long is the mental stress, I'll call it, of understanding, again, what goes into me getting ready for a Sunday game in Oklahoma City. It's a lot, but I still love it. I still enjoy it. I still love the grind of it. It is a different experience than it was 10 years ago because everything matters in order to get ready for a game. But other than that, it's all because of the performance anxiety, and I call it the healthy insecurity of, at any point, like if I don't live up to my own standards, then that'll be a kind of an out-of-body experience, and I don't ever want to experience that. Mm-hmm. So you got to keep trusting the process, if you will, of what I do.
How has the regimen, you talked about performance anxiety, but how has the regimen or the routine changed as you've gotten older and more seasoned?
I think for the last 3 or 4 years, I still feel like I'm in my prime. The body does feel different after games. You got to, accept it. And again, the routine is you do a little bit less, but more often. So it's not a day that I'm not doing something when it comes to either strength and conditioning or recovery or some mindfulness to demand something from your body. The amount of hours you put in are probably the same, but it's the not so glamorous stuff that people don't get to see of me in an ice bath or doing like a 45-minute stretch routine or getting soft tissue work or like doing breathing exercises. Like, it's all over the place, but it's a routine that I still enjoy because I know it gets me to a place where I can go out and still hoop at a high level.
There's a video of you as a young rookie in 2010 talking about where you'll be in 10 years' time. What would 21-year-old Steph think of where you are today?
Obviously, be super proud. And a lot of it's not just because of the accomplishments, which are beyond my own imaginations when I was 21, but the fact that not only have I experienced greatness on the court, but things we've talked about off the court from a business perspective, my family, just, me and Aisha have been able to do with our foundation, hopefully provide an example for our 4 kids of what it means to leverage your blessings and resources for meaningful impact in a community that matters. And the fact that now in year 16, which is a big year for me and my family, my dad played 16 years in the NBA, and that was always a goal for me to hit that milestone, and now I'm right in the middle of it. And I remember vividly his 16th year, which was his last year, and playing in Toronto, and I remember a lot of those games, and those memories are flooding back, and so to have that as something that me and him can share now is pretty special. So it all is, again, beyond my wildest dreams, is something that I think 21-year-old me would be super proud of.
Okay, last question. What else do you want to achieve? Where do you see yourself now in 10 years' time?
Well, basketball will be done by then. I can pretty much say that for sure. I don't think I'll be playing anymore.
Are you sure you're sure?
I'm pretty sure on 10 years. But I think between all the off-court entities and just going deeper into everything that I have right now. I don't think I need more. It just needs to continue to invest in, like eat, learn, play, that what we're doing in Oakland. Hopefully Curry brand is through the moon in the business that we're doing, domestically, internationally. Who knows what team ownership looks like, but just everything that I have going on now to kind of be set in stone of like staples that when you think of me, the underrated brand, underrated golf tour, and create an opportunity there. Like everything that I'm doing, I love, I'm passionate about, and I want to continue to go deeper. So I've dreamed big before and outkicked my coverage on that tremendously. So hopefully that happens again for the next 10.
You got a few more championship rings or a few more championship trophies in your trophy case?
It will not be because of a lack of effort. I'm going to try my hardest.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for listening to this edition of The Circuit. Please watch the full episode for a closer look at how Steph Curry is building his empire off the court. And he teaches me how to swing a golf club, too. I'm Emily Chang. Follow me on X and Instagram at Emily Chang TV, and you can watch new episodes of The Circuit on Bloomberg Television, streaming on the Bloomberg app or YouTube. I'm your host and executive producer. Our showrunner is Lauren Ellis. Our producer is Edwina Otira. Our editor is Allison Casey. Thanks for listening.